Thanks for having me. I love this museum. It's a big part of my education. Museums always have been, and this is one of my favorites. All the pictures I'm going to show you are of parts of projects that my firm has designed and built, and I want to emphasize on making. And for me, making has allowed me to invent. This image is of coloration and rocks from our region. I was recently commissioned to do a art and artist residency compound that was to be of the earth. And that was and so to be of the earth, I made the building out of the dirt from the site. And so to do so, that earth was all monochromatic. So I pigmented the dirt, I made samples of the dirt, we did shear testing, and convinced structural engineers that we could build a house out of dirt. That's a bad slide, but that, if you could see that, is a grid of a design, an elevation of a wall, and the artist I was working with, Rebecca DiDomenico, I had her draw these elevations. We then transcribed these two-dimensional gridded out drawings onto the formwork that we were to ram this earth in so that the folks with the pneumatic rammers could follow a very specific pattern and coloration. The final product, as you can see, it's very subtle color changes, but it resulted in a building that has an amazing amount of thermal mass, is very strong. It just survived, I guess, a 1,000-year flood. And these rammed earth walls that are structural, that hold this building together, are both viewed from the outside and the inside. And so there is no cladding, there is no extra layers, there is no decoration. What you see is what you get. We tested the building when we finished. I can tell everyone that we can make these wonderfully efficient buildings, but you need to test them to really prove that. So we did all of our HERS testing and blower door and efficiency testing. And of the Front Range, this was one of the top 3 projects in the history of the Front Range. And the other 2 were my mentor, Jim Logan, were his projects. This is a quick drawing of a children's park that I was commissioned to do. We're installing this next week in the town of Vail. These are my daughters, and they were my main influence for creating this space and how it was to feel and how they were to interact with it. We made scaled models exactly how we were going to build them. Because if you build exactly how you're going to make the big one, but really small, it is that thing. You can test it, you can push it, you can manipulate it and see if it's going to break. We made these ribs out of wood from our region, primarily beetle kill from our hills that are fallow. And I'm not going to tell you how I made those ribs, but they're very strong, and they are oiled and waxed with tree resin. And the assembly of them, this is at our workshop, to the full scale. The park is in a forested area, and there are 3 of these pods that are amongst the trees, and there are various ways of getting to and fro these pods. The primary inspiration for the shape and what you do with them, I asked my daughters and their friends, what do you like to do at the park? And the overwhelming response was, we like to pretend like we're animals, and we like to never touch the ground. I believe that natural systems are answers to our current problems and how natural systems perform. This is a picture of a poppy flower that's in my yard that I look at all summer. I was inspired by that and by very old Islamic, 5,000-year-old Islamic patterns that Edie and Nessie made privy to me. And we created a pattern that to me represented infinity. We took this pattern and we created a building facade with it. This is a model image of being on a balcony amongst the shadows and light that a screen like this would create within and on a building. And we wanted this screen to shade the building from the sun and be able to be manipulated by the user to make a great experience and to reduce the fossil fuel usage of the building by decreasing the electrical use of a cooling system. This is a facade image looking at the screen at night when people's apartments' lights are on. We created a to-scale mock-up of it to understand it and to value engineer it, and for me, just to give me the confidence that it's going to work. It allowed us to test various finishes, and we resulted with a screen that is non-toxic, regionally made, and one of a kind. This is the building that is started building today, basically, at the old Pagliacci site. And 1 year from now, we can rent apartments there or conduct business on the first floor and have a restaurant. Images of, I guess this is the end. Making allows me to invent. It allows me to invent by the fact that I can create something and mock it up and allow it to fail.